quick question, are all rich people evil?
There's been a few different ways that researchers have tried to tackle this question. One study looked at the behavior of cars flowing through a busy four-way intersection. They found that people driving luxury cars were more likely to cut off other drivers rather than wait their turn. Luxury car drivers were also more likely to cut a pedestrian off, even after they made eye contact with them. Another study gave emotional intelligence tests to people across different socioeconomic statuses. Sure enough, having a higher socioeconomic status is associated with having lower levels of emotional intelligence. Meanwhile, another study asked subjects across different socioeconomic levels to self-report on feelings of compassion for others. Even before controlling for factors like ethnicity, religion, gender identity, and so on, the study not only found a similar result, but also showed that their sense of empathy increased as their income decreased.
So at least initially, it seems the answer is yes. But now the question is this: does wealth kill compassion? Does having less compassion help you gain wealth? Or is there a third factor at play that we're simply not seeing?
In a follow-up study, they had participants spend a few minutes comparing themselves either to people who were better off or worse off than they were. Then they were shown a jar of candy and told that they could take as much as they wanted, and that anything that they didn't take would be given to children in a nearby lab. Those who spent time thinking about how they were better off than others ended up taking significantly more candy for themselves. In other words, when it comes to the question of wealth and empathy, money itself doesn't seem to be the culprit. The main thing that appears to corrupt people is the thing that money brings, which is power. Researchers ran a number of experiments where they randomly assigned artificial power to test subjects before having them perform tasks that required them to examine other people's perspectives. Across all groups, power dampened the part of the brain that governs mirroring, which is when we simulate the experience of others in our own mind. Power robs your brain of that ability, and we're still not 100% sure why that happens.
What we know is that power dampens these parts of your brain as much as a traumatic brain injury would. So if you have a boss or a teacher who actually got hit in the head a bunch, well, now you know. But now the question is this: how do we achieve success and status in our own lives without having the same thing happen to us?
There is one key takeaway that might save you if you ever find yourself in a position of authority. Just because you have power doesn't mean that you need to feel powerful. Regularly engaging in behavior that grounds you can help you regain your faculty for empathy, such as watching documentaries, reflecting on hard times in your life, and spending time with people who keep you grounded. All those can make sure that you don't get too drunk on your own power.
It's also important to remember that there's different levels to being wealthy. Like there's regular rich, and then there's so rich that you have more money than most of the countries on Earth. And getting into that second tier requires a bit of let's call it creative accounting that we'll break down in our next episode.